Hello, I'm Rebecca Horan, and a very warm welcome to A Little Birdie Told Me, a podcast brought to you by rollercoaster.ie. In this season, I will sit down and chat to 16 pretty interesting people to discuss pregnancy, parenting, and everything in between. On this episode, TV presenter, radio broadcaster, and mum of three, Lucy Kennedy, will join her co-host, broadcaster and pal, and dad of two, Colm Hayes, to chat about, well, almost everything.
Well, this is a very special episode, and I'm absolutely delighted to have on the pod today two pals, but also parents.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of bringing them on to talk about their parenting journey, but it's just an excuse really to see them.
Just to
I
get
don't see them.
together.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we are friends in real life, and it's so good to see you.
Good to see
Because life has been so busy that we haven't really properly reunited.
Lucy,
since
I need to give
we
you
were
your
asked to-
massive intro with your bio. I have to do that
sorry,
so that
okay,
everyone knows
okay.
how amazing you both are.
Okay,
When you hear my
So
bio,
we have Colm
half a
Hayes,
sentence.
broadcaster extraordinaire, icon, legendary icon.
Thank you.
Big
Who wrote
host
that?
of the
Thank
radio
you.
stations back in the 80s.
Colin and Jim's home run.
Exactly.
TV
Disaster.
show.
No, huge broadcaster and father of two, which
Yes.
is important to say. Lucy, who spreads herself too thin, TV presenter,
Thank
radio
you.
broadcaster.
Thank you so much.
Author, does everything, and is
Yes.
mother of three as well. So
Yes.
welcome to the podcast. I'm really happy to be chatting to you both.
Thanks for chatting
Yeah.
to us, Bex. We are chalk and cheese actually when it comes to parenting, and we often kind of argue during ad breaks about why would you do that? Why would you?
Yeah, yeah.
He's definitely more
But
lenient
this is
than
a funny
me.
thing to be talking to you both about because, your realm is really, showbiz and pop culture and interviewing people
Yes.
about their lifestyles. Columns is very much like anything that's in the zeitgeist, news and so to
Yeah.
be talking to you both about parenting is
Yeah.
kind of not in your comfort zone.
I don't think I've really ever spoken publicly about parenting.
No,
I'd speak about it
this
on
is
air.
out of his comfort zone,
No.
whereas I talk about this
You
every
do- you
day.
do a
you do,
lot.
and you do bits
Yeah.
on Instagram
No,
and you
yeah,
show your
yeah.
life.
In fairness, we'd speak about it on air a lot, and obviously
Yes.
a lot off air. But I've never sort of publicly spoken
Yeah,
about
I don't think so.
What a bad
you
dad
speak
you are.
fondly of your children,
why the kids don't talk to me anymore.
why they're estranged.
Yeah,
That's terrible,
It's a
isn't it?
They're
miracle.
not.
Well, their mother is great.
But you spoke a lot on air when I would have listened to you about your children and this great growth
That's
for your
true,
children.
yeah.
You did,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Rocky the dog,
Yeah.
who's
Yes,
since died,
since
which
in
is
heaven.
devastating.
I know.
Yeah.
But and then Lucy's the same. She shows us glimpses of the kids and stuff. But
Yeah.
to actually discuss in an interview style about parenting, which is something you haven't done, I think this is going to be really interesting.
Yeah, I think it will be, and maybe surprising.
I think so too. Colin,
Yeah.
you had a big, massive career that was blowing up at the time. Is blowing up a positive word? Does that mean you were
No,
failing?
blowing up means it's a failure. It means
Okay,
that
so
it's
blow-
So you were
exploded on your
right.
face.
Yeah,
So
so you said the
Yeah,
right
yeah.
thing.
So it was growing.
Sorry, it was growing.
Going
yeah.
and then pop.
Exponentially.
Leave it to the interviewer,
And his
please.
gorgeous wife Anne has had two children, not
Yeah.
back to back. Was there a gap?
Oh no! So Alex now is 29 and Holly's 23. So yeah, there was 6
It's a little
years.
bit of a gap,
yeah,
yeah.
there was 6 years. Yeah, yeah.
So you have this love story. You come together. You're going in this direction with broadcasting. You have two children at home. Things are. How do you parent really well? Because I know you're a brilliant dad, and I also know you're a dedicated dad.
I'm a
How
good-
do you parent when
I
you're
don't know if
working?
really dedicated.
I don't know if I'm a brilliant dad. 'Cause I
You
don't
are.
know,
No, you are, Hazel.
No,
You are.
just to answer this, because I don't know what a brilliant dad really is. You know what I mean? Because I think when you become a dad, you become a dad like a mum for the first time. I've often thought about this. You become a dad overnight.
Yes.
Like, there's no training, there's no practicing. You know your wife is about to give birth, but you don't know what's going to happen. And suddenly you become a dad overnight.
And
you've
you
gotta-
either adapt or you don't.
You've got to learn very fast. Now,
Yeah.
my dad wasn't around much, and I mean that in the best way because he was always working.
Yeah.
And he used to take on overtime as well. Now, when he was around, he was brilliant. So a lot of what he gave me, or the values that my mum gave me, I think I brought into parenting because I was very lucky. My mum and dad were absolutely, well, my mum's still around, but my dad's passed on. But they were amazing parents when they were there. And my mum was there quite a lot. So I suppose I adapted very fast. Did I get it right? Did I get it wrong? I don't know. But I always
Tried.
yeah. I
Yeah.
was always there. I was always in the
Because
space.
you're absent a lot, obviously, for the
Yeah.
morning bits for the
Yeah.
show. But then would you go home and be hands-on, or were you just so tired? You
Oh
couldn't be?
no! So my big thing, like it's you're
It's
the
so
same
weird.
now.
Yeah, it's
You're
like
the same now.
he had my life 15 years ago,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So I would go home. I would collect Holly on the bike. On my bike, and I'd have sandwiches ready, and we'd cycle down to Sea Point, and we'd go for a swim, and so we'd share that time. Similarly with Alex, there would always be a time, and then when it got so busy, Holly and me created this thing called Tuesday Dad. So Tuesday Dad meant when I picked her up, she had the choice of where she wanted to go. and I had to do it that afternoon. Spent many hours in pennies.
Good. Good girl, Halls.
And then weekends were huge. Friday nights,
Yes,
weekends.
yeah, and we were very lucky. We were able to go to Rosslare a lot. We had a place down in Rosslare, so we went to Rosslare. So that was a real little family unit that
Bonding.
we went down. Yeah.
Okay, so when
bonding.
I say brilliant dad, and I'm going to ask Lucy now about that experience. Sorry, I'm not doing a throwaway. You were a brilliant dad, but you were more hands-on perhaps than previous generations. And then I think even
Yes.
now we're more hands-on fathers,
yeah.
particularly. I think it's a given that women just have to kind of dedicate their entire beings, and then you're trying to work. I know my mum it gave up her career in journalism for my dad to work because it was what you did, because one person had to have the income. It was too expensive to have childcare, and so now we're all doing everything.
Yeah.
You see, you have 3. I often go hands, like I have 2 now. I work 5 days, and I definitely find it hard, and I watch you, and I think a lot of women watch you and they go, and I hate that whole, how do you balance? But how are you finding it?
Exhausting. Like, I am one of these people who kind of says it as I see it. And truthfully, being a working mum, whether it's at home or leaving home and going to the workplace with 3 children, is exhausting. No matter how organised you are, someone one day might be sick. I have 3 different school collections. So one is at 1:30, one is at 2:30, and then I have to collect my son from the dart station because he's too lazy to walk home at 4:30. So I spend my life just when I leave here, going home, emptying the dishwasher, walking the dog, being like mum, sort of taking off my bra, taking off my makeup, putting on a ponytail and tracksuit, and then I click into motherhood. And if anybody phones me between 1:30 and 6, I actually can't hear myself think. It's very full on. But I love it. But is it hard? Absolutely. And I wake up every morning saying I'm tired, and I spend every evening saying tomorrow night I'll go to bed earlier.
It's really boring, isn't it, that conversation?
Yes.
I feel all I say to people
I'm on
is
a wheel.
I'm tired.
I'm on a wheel.
A hamster wheel.
Yeah.
So I'm at the
But
other-
I say
love
this to you all the time,
it.
Colm. I'm
Yeah.
just really tired, and you're like,
I
well,
feel
everyone's
tired.
tired.
I know. I feel like we're all lacking in iron.
But I'm
Yeah.
at the other end. So my kids are now 23 and 29. So Alex is living away from home now. He's only down the road. Actually, as we say, 4 bus stops away, right? Which is really good. And Holly is still in the house, but she's studying now, and she's in Queen's University. And
You had to get that in, that she's fancy.
Yeah,
That is
she's
very
fancy. Yeah,
fancy.
She's got her
she's the
mum's
one.
brain.
She's the
Yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah.
But there was a period of time once I remember. I think I told you the story. I was on a beach with Alex, and he was about 5 years of age, and we were building a little football pitch out of sand and kicking a ball around. And this couple came along who obviously had grown out of kids at that stage. They were probably my age as I am now.
Yeah.
And they were standing there, and the dad came over to me and he said, "Oh my God," he says, "I love the way you're playing with your son." And I was going, yeah, that's what we do all the time. And he said, "You'll blink and it's gone."
So true.
And I went
though.
I went, oh God, can't wait for that day.
Because when you're in the thick of it, you can't think straight.
And he was right, and I think about it later. When you blink, it's gone. And
But isn't it hard to hear that all the time? I get that a lot.
Yes.
Rebecca, it'll be over so quickly. Enjoy it while you're in it. And
Yes.
I adore my
I would-
children.
But when you're in
but
it,
when you're
it's
in
full on.
guys, I would give
Full on.
anything
Would you?
to be
Would
back
you
to
really?
that point.
Now,
Yeah.
he often says
That's
this.
interesting.
He often says this to me. Sorry, just to go back as well, just to him saying about you being a good dad. So we obviously have known each other for 13 years. We started working together when Ryan sadly passed away, but very intensely we've been working together for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
And if either of his children, and they're still his children, even though they are adults, phone him, he's on it. He
He's
fixes
obsessed with
everything
his
very quickly. He adores his
Yeah.
children. And,
Oh, yeah.
And one thing I do think that makes him a brilliant dad is time. He gives his children time. So that's just going back on that. You are a very, very good dad.
But in response to that as well, because possibly of the time I gave them, and I'm not trying to paint some great picture, when they were growing up, they give me time now.
Yeah,
And
they
it's
hang
really,
out.
really important.
That's
And
because you give them money, don't you? Give them cash.
I do give them money.
Yeah, he does. And he also tries to go out with them when they're friends.
And you
Yeah,
try and be
yeah.
cool and stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
Was the showbiz thing in that day when it was really the height of, like, it was boom days in Ireland, it was all very exciting, the industry was
Yeah.
kind of coming into its own. Was the showbiz aspect of the premieres and the bits and pieces and going to was that really gorgeous to be able to involve your kids in, or actually a pain in the bum?
No, I think when Alex could get to the new James Bond movie,
Yeah.
or when Holly could be at High School, the musical, and she introduced the second one, or when she was the only person in Ireland to interview Miley
Oh,
Cyrus.
yes, because she was on a lot.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, yeah.
She had her own little the Holly and Sally Christmas show, so it was on the digital station on 2FM, whatever the kids station is called. So yeah, there were bits that I know she loved then. Now she hides the picture away that she had with Miley Cyrus.
That could be worth a few
I
quid
know,
for
it's like
her.
a bar.
Take it out now.
But like there are little things we can now.
Yeah.
Now, there's a great word that Lucy uses all the time.
Oh, God.
And no, it's okay. And it's
Which one?
it's
Which
which
one?
one?
Which one?
And
Which
it's we do say it's great that we can give the kids, and then they become so. They think they can get anything. They become entitled. There's the word.
Children nowadays are very entitled.
I was going to ask you about this. I just quickly want to say, did you always want to have children? And I know,
yes,
you
I
had a
always.
love story
No,
with
I
Richard.
always wanted
Okay.
to. I always, even pre-rich.
Or were you like, I just want a career, I want to have an amazing life, and kids are a distraction, or you did
No,
want to have a family?
I was the opposite. I was ever since I was a little girl. I was that little girl dragging the big baby doll behind her. Always,
That's
always.
like Jess in your
Yes,
video.
very much so. I had the pigtails, the dirty knees, and a baby in my arms, and things obviously haven't changed.
Yeah.
But I always wanted to be a mum. Always. And with every boyfriend I had pre-Richie, it was always very much, do you like kids? And I always wanted 3, and thank God it's happened.
Yeah.
Lucy tells me a story that when she went out, and this isn't telling out of class, when you went out first with Richard, as you were talking, because both of you wanted kids, you
Yes.
had the names
Hang on, is
already.
this a story
Yes.
about her not waxing her bits?
No.
Yeah.
No.
No,
That's a
that's not
different
bleaching
story.
my moustache.
You
it's
had
different.
you had the names already picked.
Yes, we
which
both
was
loved the
quite
name.
Bizarre.
Yeah, Jack.
And maybe it's not bizarre, but
Which is also the namesake of one of Colm's kids.
Yes.
That's Holly,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, except his Holly's December, my Holly's April. But no, I
But you
always
wanted 3.
yes, I always wanted children, and then
still want
I always
more?
saw my work
Do you
as
still want them?
second.
Do you still want more? No.
Oh, so I'm 46.
she does get broody.
I get very broody. Well,
so
you've seen me in
young
action.
looking. Oh my God,
you've
you
seen
look
me
like
in
a baby.
action.
Yeah.
Seeing you in action with what?
With
Sex?
newborns. With newborns.
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant broody. I was like, I haven't seen you in action with sex.
I mean, we are tight.
with
Yeah.
with newborn. No, you were. I have to say, I bring a baby, and Colin was like, "Congrats, that's great."
Oh
like
my
you were
God.
lovely, and I bring it to my friends. They're like, "Oh, cool, Bex, let's have a drink." Lucy ate
Yeah.
my baby.
I know.
Like,
I started
ate her.
lactating.
Yeah, what was
I
that?
love
babies. Too. I think
really
even more
do.
than children.
I love babies. I love children, and they are my weakness and my
Oh.
strength. So
We-
would I have liked more? Oh, I don't know. 3 was always my magic number, and I am one of 3. But if I thought that we would have another, I think we would have by now.
Yeah.
But I don't regret not, because I have 3 healthy, happy babies, and I have a
beautiful,
lot to be
beautiful
thankful
baby.
for.
We were given by a movie company, Baby Annabelle, to take care of, right? Yeah, it's really
like-
weird.
No, Hazy.
And,
no,
and
Hazy.
Lucy basically
She's not called
fostered
baby.
it.
No, wait a sec. She's
Hang
not
on, is
called
this like
Baby
Love Island
Annabelle.
trying to
Sorry,
get
what's it
babies?
called?
No, she's not called Baby Annabelle. Baby Annabelle is Baby Annabelle.
What was the baby in the horror movie?
Annabelle the freak.
You
yeah,
mean
yeah.
The Exorcist
The
kids?
doll that
Yeah.
kills people.
No, I know, but we were given the.
So we were given Annabelle.
But you basically ran away with it. You.
I got really broody
Yeah.
towards this horror doll who was basically a female version of Chucky.
I know.
And I was going, but look at her face. I was plashing her hair.
It was very
Obviously-
freaky.
There's
Obviously,
something
the
going on.
company
There's
don't
something
know
we
that
need
we
to
did
analyse
this.
there. What's happening? Did you breastfeed her?
I tried to.
Yeah.
She didn't latch on.
I could have helped.
She
I
didn't
just-
latch on.
I just.
Latch her latch. Did you go to Holland Street Dawson?
No,
Did you go to a
because
lactation
I
consultant?
generally do have a good latching system.
And Anne often talks to Alex about, oh, will you have a kid so we can have a grandchild? Now, that's the thing that scares me.
Yes. Whereas I think you make a brilliant granddad, and obviously,
Oh,
why?
no, it's the
He-
worst.
he's not. He's fearing
Well,
age.
you're in that time.
He's fearing age. He
No,
doesn't
you're
like
not.
the aging
You're a very young
process.
man.
Oh,
You're
I am
not
fearing age. Absolutely,
What's
I'm fearing
fearing
age. Yeah, yeah.
Fearing age.
a fearing age.
Fear of age.
You're
That's his
still very
fear.
young.
Yeah.
You're still very
He's
young.
very immature, very
Yeah.
basic. His sense of humor is very basic.
Okay, this is a different interview here now. This is some completely
Can I
different.
say to you, were
Yeah.
Anne's pregnancies, and obviously this is like, you can't speak out of turn about Anne, it is, this is Colm's wife.
Yeah.
Were they tricky pregnancies? Do you remember
Yeah.
finding, okay, they were. And were you good? Did you find that scary, or were you
The-
supportive?
Well, they were both emergency cesareans,
Oh, japers.
but the first one in particular with Alex was a bit scary. Yeah, and that was an emergency.
Yeah.
That was get him out and get him out quick. And there was a period of time, I always remember there was a period of time just before the 7th month that he'd stopped kicking. And this isn't grim, by the way.
Yeah.
I was gonna say.
But Anne was getting really, oh my God, and I'd go.
So frightening.
And we'd go, oh God, I don't know. Look, I'm sure it's, and rang the hospital and whatever. They said, look, this happens a lot. And I always remember to this day, we were watching the movie Betty Blue. Still remember the movie.
Don't know that
Betty
movie.
Blue.
It's
It's
probably
a French movie.
not around.
So in life was
quite
black
high,
and white.
quite highbrow.
Doubt it.
But
Doubt
anyway,
it.
we were watching Betty Blue, and in the middle of it, Anne started crying, and I went, "It's a good movie," and she went, "No, he's kicked again."
Oh, God, love her. Oh, that is
God,
the
no,
worst.
so it is the worst. It is the worst. You fear the worst.
Yeah.
I
And-
used
Yeah.
to take myself into Hollis Street with my second because I'd had
yeah.
a few pregnancy losses, so I was scared having Simone.
I know,
And I used to
Bex.
take myself into Hollis Street, like in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
So
No,
it's
Jason would be
awful.
asleep because I didn't want him to think I was a weirdo. He already
Yes.
thinks I'm a little bit
Well, he
old.
does. We
they
all know
all
that.
did. They
And
all
I
did.
used to get into the car knowing no one would be awake, Jason, and I go into Hollis Street and go, just heck is she?
I know,
there?"
yes.
And they'd be like,
it's like, show me,
well, we
show
can't put
me.
you on a scanner. We've a ton of people. That's a very busy ward. I'm like, whenever you have a chance, throw me up on the scanner.
No,
because
I'd
I
be
didn't
like,
trust
yes.
the monthly scans. I
Yes.
wanted, and they go, yeah, she's okay. Thank you so much. And I'd zip back home, and Jason would go, Bex, you gotta stop.
I know.
You're wasting
I know,
really
but
important. Like, this is their time. But that just shows the crazy.
Yeah,
Well,
but
no, it's not
it shows the
crazy, though.
maternal,
Yeah.
your maternal instinct, which I think is very
How
attractive
were
in
your
a person.
pregnancies?
Vile.
Oh.
So I literally.
Do you love being pregnant? No.
I liked parts of it, but
Okay.
unfortunately, I was one of these people. Literally from conception, I would feel. I'd have extreme morning sickness. I pretty much had for my first child, Jack, who ended up being quite a scary emergency section as well. After pretty much going into labour, and then they had to whip him out. But Jack was about 14 weeks when I felt really, really sick, to the point of Rich couldn't wear deodorant, aftershave, any strong smells, couldn't look at tuna, they were like, and I would retch, and I wouldn't vomit, but it was like being on a boat all day.
Yeah.
And then when I was pregnant, then the next time was with Holly, and my morning sickness was worse. And for Holly and Jess, my last two girls, 18 weeks.
Did
and
you
I was
go
doing,
on anything, Caravan or anything? No.
Yes, yes,
Oh, you
yes.
did.
I had the wrist. I had to get acupuncture, and then I was given
Jeez.
I was given medication from
And you were
Hugh
doing
O'Connor
live
in the
telly?
Coombe.
Were you doing work then?
Live telly in the Coombe, and poor Martin King.
In the Coombe?
In the
No,
coop.
no, sorry.
That's a great
It's
show.
the 6 o'clock show, live from the coop.
Living with
It was
the
a 7 o'clock show then.
All right, sorry.
No, sorry. I was doing the 7 o'clock show with Martin
You're
King.
correct. Yeah.
And I remember I'd say to him, please, can you, I'd almost, that watery mouth feed, I think I gave, say, can you do the kitchen segment? If there was any
really?
like raw meat slapped on the table,
Okay.
I could feel myself.
It's
And then once
mainly
I gave birth, I
perfumes
was
though,
fine.
isn't it?
Oh!
I couldn't. I'm a
Certain
big perfume
aftershaves.
person, but certain perfumes in the office, and people would know I was pregnant because I'd be like,
Right.
No, it's horrific. It's really debilitating, and especially when you can't
Visceral.
say that you are pregnant.
Yeah.
Because I waited till 14 weeks all times, and so I just looked really narky, really uncomfortable, really rude.
normal
I was
then.
just
Yeah, no
pretty
one
much
noticed,
normal
yeah.
me. Yeah, yeah,
you're
yeah.
a very naturally attractive woman, right?
Oh,
okay.
Jesus.
No, but you are. You're
Where's this going?
Wow, you didn't even give me a drink.
I'm not going to touch you. That's not this kind of podcast. This
Again.
is not a throuble. This
Again.
is not. But you're very beautiful, and
Oh, wow.
you
Wow.
are not. I'll come to you. Just like I know there's a lot of envy here. I'll come to you. But you're beautiful, and you've always been camera ready, right? This is a really and you answer whatever way you want, but
Yes.
did you feel, and I'm not doing the bounce back thing,
Yeah.
but did you feel for your pregnancies, or was it just that you were so happy to have a child, this all-consuming notion of like being ready to go back into the world and look the way you looked, or did you not get absorbed in
Never.
that
No,
nonsense?
I never actually cared, to be honest.
That's great.
With Jack, I literally gave birth and then did the make the switch ads. He was 6 weeks old. My mum-in-law basically took over. And I remember there was someone assigned to me, because we filmed around Ireland, this was for Board Gosh, to keep an eye on leaking, because I had to keep changing my breast pads. Yeah.
No.
So I went
That's quite progressive.
I went back to work very quickly, but that was that for that ad, which was a big campaign when I was working with Board Gosh, and then I took time off. Holly, I really kind of succumbed to motherhood. I know that's probably the wrong word, but I really embraced it maybe better the second time, because I saw how quickly Jack had grown the first. So I said, good luck to Telly, good luck to everything. And I was a mum, and I remember people thought I was dead.
You felt disappeared.
In that when I came back, people were like, Jesus, we haven't seen you about 5 years.
Why,
and
how
I say,
long
no,
do you
actually,
think you were-
It was a year.
Was it?
Off
Was
the
it?
telly only. Only.
Because I remember you doing interviews with her and there was lovely stuff, but yeah, there was probably less TV presence.
Yes.
But do you regret or not?
No, I absolutely loved it. Now the only thing is, I will say, you can't win either way. When I wasn't working, I couldn't buy the things I wanted to buy, and when I was working, I felt guilty that I wasn't there. So for anybody listening, you can't win. I've seen both
You
sides of
can't
the
win.
coin.
You can't win.
You can't. You're
I'm always like,
you're
I just
guilty no
want to
matter
be
what.
at home
Yeah.
with among the bosom with the and being the pickup mom and being the amazing. And then I'm like, well, we'll be
And then
broke.
you just go home and shout. It's like, actually, in hindsight, they're probably better off without me.
Yeah. I remember Anne going back quite quick because it wasn't that sort of length of work. And also she was working for herself. She had her own company. And I think, I mean, we often talk about it because now there are some companies you're a year off, whatever.
Yeah.
I think she was back within like 2 weeks.
I hear a lot about this, like when we complain nowadays about 6 months paid or 4 months paid or a year off. And, you know, my mum will go, like in Rebecca in America, it's 12 weeks. Or
yes, that's my sister. Literally got
Mum
3
was
months
about
off.
4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah.
She said she was still suffering postpartum. And I think, is there a sense of that we're a little bit like mollycoddled this generation, or are we just more honest about how hard it is? I find it hard to hear you say your wife went back in 2 or 3. I would have been in the toilet at that stage.
I
with
think
children.
Me too. In fairness to her, I would have.
But it's a case of what
You've got your pads, your boobs.
Yeah.
Or,
Oh God,
I know,
bits.
and that's all there now, and it's a case of what was the space that you lived in at that time, and what was the environment
That was 29 years ago.
It was 29 years ago, when you think about it. And also there was, she had to work.
but were people tough? I'm just saying, were people tougher? Is there was there toughness?
No. I think when I look at it now, I think absolutely a new mum should have loads of time with the babies,
Especially
and
after section.
and a dad should as well. You know what I mean? But my kids haven't suffered from not having that time.
Do you think?
No, but did
No,
Anne
absolutely
suffer
not.
from going back so quickly? Maybe is the question.
No, because she'd only think about that now.
Yes.
There was nothing.
You just get on with it, though, don't
because
you?
you couldn't.
Suck it up.
You just suck it up, yeah.
If the choice had been there at that stage, and she was forced back after 2 weeks, I'd say yes. She would have said, "Well, that was unnecessary."
That's very hard.
But that
mentally,
didn't happen in those days. You had to
Yeah.
get, and I'm not. This isn't
get back
100
on the
years
bike.
ago, but she had her own company, and
Yeah.
and it was all about dealing with accounts.
And her
she had
husband
to
was
get back
forcing
in.
her.
And he was a mean man.
And her
Yeah,
husband.
he was. There isn't a perfect way of doing anything. There's no way to be the perfect parent, the perfect wife, the perfect person. We're all flawed, and that's what makes us good.
And that is why people shouldn't spend their time judging mums, new mums. And,
I can't
and
abide that
shouldn't
now.
be
That is
judging,
one
oh
of
my
my
God,
favourite-
look,
What do you mean?
like her
Mums
body is
judging
perfect
other
again.
mums.
Yeah. Or look
Mums
at her.
judging mums.
But that's what I mean.
No,
You
people.
are gorge and glam and all that, but you're also
Said you're
very
gonna come
real.
to me about that
No,
as
but you're
well.
also. I'm doing that. It's on
She's not a liar.
It's also you're very real with it. So there's
Yes,
not just like
yes.
I'm gorgeous, I have a great career, and I have 3 children. We live
No,
in a
I'm the
beautiful
first
home. It's
person to
like-
point out Spanx. Yeah, no,
But also
I
the
do
kids,
keep it real.
like the madness of it all, or this.
It is
or,
mad.
Or the stroke. Like you are real about that. I think it's important because I think if you're watching and you're not relatable, it's very tricky.
Yes,
of
course. But like, I'm the first person to say, "Oh my God, I'm so tired. I could actually cry." Like I have sat here, haven't I, in the past?
He loves
saying,
that. He loves some women.
Where I'm
telling
literally sitting going, I'm just so tired. I could actually cry. I could actually start crying now.
that's
you know,
too
you're
much
on
energy.
on the brink of emotion because you're just exhausted. Yeah. There are times I am overwhelmed and I'm exhausted, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
love what
I'd
you
much
do.
rather. Yeah, I love what I do, and I'd much rather just complain daily.
Do you think they benefit from you doing what you do because it fills you up?
I
Or
think
is it about money
I think,
as well?
I think, well, they're in school now, so I'm actually not missing anything. All I miss is the drop off. But I've always built my career around our children in that Live with Lucy's Friday to Sunday. Ireland's Got Talent was obviously bulk filming, but they kind of moved into the hotel for me at times. I've always kind of planned it that way. And now, I mean, Jess started Crush when I started here, so they were gone anyway. So Rich does the drop off, I do the collection. But I wouldn't take on another job after here because that collection is really important to me. And no matter what, I've literally hung up on Zoom calls and meetings going, I'm gone. I have to be at the school
But coming
gate.
to do this show with Colin, which is a brilliant show, it's like great listenership, people love it, it's really
Thank you.
enjoyable, family friendly, but gorgeous
Yes.
music. You got to get up early. And if you have a baby, like I've got one still on the boob, and stuff, like how do you find the getting up? Are you a morning person? Do you find it okay? Is
Well, Jess
everyone
was
up?
older now. When we officially started here, it was the April, wasn't it?
Yeah, 2 years ago, yeah.
So
Were
was
they up in the morning? Was it head wrecking? Were you trying to get out of the house without people holding onto your leg?
No, actually, I found it okay. Thank God I gave birth to sleepers.
Okay.
But when I did find it hard was
Okay,
during...
now I just don't like you very much.
Yeah, I don't like me after
Yeah.
saying that either, actually. But one sec, Casey.
Yeah, sorry.
During lockdown, I found it agony because I was doing it from home. So I would literally, and became a bit of a running joke. Well, Clint, who we worked with at the time, that's when we were on Radio Nova, I probably hated me, and Hazy, and I'd say they bitched about me as well
Why?
when I left.
Because the intensity of that.
Because I literally whispered
Well,
till
it's
8
horrible,
o'clock.
that's horrible,
I was
that's
whispering till
horrible.
8 o'clock because my kids were asleep upstairs, and I was in the dining room of a rented house that we were in. So that's when I
That's
thought,
very
I
stressful.
cannot do the two. And then potty training Jess as we'd play, I don't know,
Yeah.
whatever song we were
Yeah.
playing. Then we
Toto
introduced
Africa.
Yeah, introduce a new puppy. So I'd literally sit there in a complete sweat, having a meltdown. I got caught several times on air giving out to the children because then I was trying to do their homework.
Stop it.
Yes.
But
and
I
I was
I-
literally screaming in frustration, going, this is just so hard.
Now, maybe
I'm
this-
live with my family in the same
But it
room.
gives a whole new meaning to work from
No,
home during that
maybe
time.
it's,
She's
maybe it's
on
a
it.
Yes.
maybe it's a dad's perspective here, but and I know that you get yourself into a little bit of a jocker as things were going on, and I'd find it as cute as anything, and I'd be talking to Jess off air and doing all
yes,
sorts
he
of crazy
loved it.
stuff.
He's like, here's the monkey. And I'm going, monkey?
Yeah, I used to have a little.
Why do you always talk about your monkey?
No, I had a little monkey that I'd put up to the
I know,
screen
I
and
hate a
play.
little monkey,
But
yeah.
no,
Yeah,
this is
creepy
what I'm
monkey.
saying. I think kids are very, very resilient and adaptable, and that's why I know when my kids were young and I was doing the breakfast show, they just went on with, "Oh, you're doing the breakfast show."
Why are they all in therapy now
That's
in their
it.
20s?
Yeah, I
I don't
know.
know.
And I
about
remember
this.
once
Yeah.
or twice driving out in the morning, and I'd hear. And I'd look up at the window, and Holly would be there,
Yes.
and she'd just wave at me, and I'd go, "Oh my God, that's so
It
cute."
becomes the norm.
Oh, Colin, that is so cute.
Exactly. So they adapt. So Jess had adapted much quicker to me being on Zoom than my
Yes,
radio partner
yes,
had.
I really now, I did not like it.
I think kids
I wouldn't like that either. I would
adapt.
absolutely hate
I think
that.
kids. I think we need to sometimes step back a little bit.
They
and
do.
give them the
But
space.
I think Lucy's talking
We
about this.
mollycoddle them
We
too
do.
much, guys.
But
No,
I think
but
Lucy's
also-
talking about
Protect them
separating
too much.
work and home life. I think you're doing what when I step out to the door, I take on a different thing and I go to work. I
Yeah.
don't know if I wouldn't mix
No,
the two.
now it's really hard to mix the two, and that was my experience because my gut instinct was just to push the microphone away and be with my children,
Yeah.
but I couldn't be. So I almost resented.
I push the children away and just be with the
Yeah.
microphone.
No,
Yeah.
I didn't want the
Yeah.
microphone. I resented having to work because I was looking at Jess say crying in the
Oh,
room.
that's awful. That's awful.
And every cell in my body wanted to pick her up, but we were in the middle of interviewing somebody. So I hated radio then. I found
Terrible,
it really,
isn't it?
really
because
hard.
you're such a professional, but yet you're being pulled in so many directions.
And I will always choose my kids, always. And if this, for whatever reason, one day did not work out, unfortunately, I would leave it because I'll always put my children first.
Well, God,
that
I
makes
do-
you amazing. I love that you're
No, but
saying
I don't.
that.
I
It's
don't.
very
I mean, I think
honest.
that's a lovely thing to say. But I would be shocked by any mother that wouldn't. Do you know? I mean, I would have no respect for. I think what you do first in life is you put your children first.
Some people find it
my,
harder. I
My
think.
kids
Yeah.
say
Yeah.
to me sometimes, my Holly will I'm as a mess. She'll say, "Oh, my dad, do you love me?" And I go, "Oh, of course I do." She says, "You never say enough." And I said, "But no," and I'd say, "But it's my job. It's my job to love you, and I love that job, and it's the most favourite job I have in the world.
You
and I
and
love
your
this,
daughter have the
but I do.
cutest-
I would be shocked, and I'm sure some people do give up their kids for their career, but that would shock me.
Now, to
No,
you, Colin,
it's
That
you're
would
very,
shock me.
you're very handsome. You've always
Thanks
looked
very
after
much.
yourself.
Thanks very
and
much.
Do you
you've
feel
na-
like you have to do
and
this now,
You're
don't you?
naturally very,
Loose,
very
quiet
good
for a
at
He doesn't
moment.
look after. He doesn't look after
Lucy,
himself.
could you-
Look at the state.
You've never had to get anything done to yourself.
Stop
I
for a
really
moment.
admire how
Yes,
you look
thank
since
you. No
you had
injections.
kids. Did you find kids
so
affected how
natural.
you looked after yourself?
My kids generally did my hair.
We often discuss our loves, our hates, our fears, our worries, our concerns. And my greatest fear in life is leaving my
I was
children.
going to ask you about your fears. Okay.
Oh,
And
jeez.
that is my only fear. Give me a spider, give me a rat.
So
give
it's
me,
not fears for them not coping in life or things going wrong or
it's fear for
estrangement or-
me not being with
Okay.
them. So
Yeah.
like my greatest nightmare, they are my greatest strength and my greatest weakness. But my fear is leaving them, and I often
It's
kind
heartbreaking, the thought of it, isn't it?
yes,
Yeah, it is
and
actually
even
heartbreaking.
it is heartbreaking. It kills me, and it makes
Any
me very
article or
upset.
news story, I think about a mum, I just
Can't
Yeah.
do it.
find it very
And-
hard to read.
Yeah, we're like this in
the
the mornings.
mornings, yeah.
I literally go, I can't read that story because I feel sick. It's slightly kind of
And attached
resonating.
to it, kind of like
Yes,
yeah.
you can resonate with that kind of feeling.
Sex. Did
Jesus.
you feel like you could have anyone you'd date? Isn't it hard? How do you get your marriage
water's
back? How do
coming
you
up
get
on
relationship?
That's how it happened, apparently.
No, but sex is so tricky.
I'm not talking about sex. I don't talk about things you can't eat.
Don't
I
Jeez.
just talk about food. Food. Oh, for God's sake, you
believe
guys
you said
are
that. I can't believe you said
absolutely.
that.
I'm a child.
I'm
by the-
talking about something completely
You guys
different.
are
child.
absolutely
When you're-
disgusting.
Oh, no,
You're-
you started it.
When you're with
I
your
didn't.
partner and it's all jazz hands and we know it's all fab, and then you have these babies. I'm more talking about this. The relationship definitely changes.
It does, it
Everything
adjusts.
changes.
Of course it
How
does,
did
yes.
you cope with that? Colin, how did you cope with your relationship change? You don't
Not
talk
very
about, You don't
well.
talk about your sex life, but like, how did you cope and get
No,
yourself
because we
on
don't want
track
to.
and-
I
You don't say anything.
Do you know, again, it's sort of this thing, it's a thing, you become a dad overnight, right? You literally become a dad overnight. So from the guy that was the guy to the dad, you adapt very fast. Maybe not very well, within that relationship, or maybe it takes a lot of time, but there's a lot of adapting for both. So I suppose the basis of the relationship at the start, when you guys fell in love and when you were out and you had this time when Anne and myself moved in together and all that, and you could go out whenever you want. Yeah. That just stops.
Do you have to find yourselves again? Like, did you find it took a...
I think you find yourself through your kids. I really think you find... I think you find your place again through your kids. Wow. Because the one thing is that because the kids now, for me, are gone, right, are older, your relationship takes on a completely different line. Because just on conversation, you forget that nearly 80% of all your conversation when your kids were young was about your kids, right? When they're actually out in the world on their own, and Alex is 29 and Holly is up, 80% of your conversation is no longer just about the kids. So you sort of go back to... Good. Being those people
That's
you were.
Me great hope.
But you have changed significantly.
Totally.
Because of the shared
and that's that whole conversation about monogamy isn't important, isn't it? But sexy times, Lucy, I'm not going to ask about your sex life, Richie.
Yeah, no, I don't do sex life. But what I will say is this.
Do you make time for each other? Okay, seriously, do you make dating time, fun time, private time?
No, I don't do this whole hashtag date night thing. But I have a slightly different way of looking at it than Colm, in that obviously when you become a parent, everything you consume, everything you talk about, even from, like, I'd say, Dad, have you done this?
Oh, I know.
Whereas he is Richie.
I know.
Or I'd say, you know, all right, here I'm going, tell Mum to do that. So you do kind of slightly lose your identity as the Richie and Lucy or whoever that you were. So we have kind of said to each other, right, we need to start making an effort to be together as Richie and Lucy. Yes. And not as Mum and Dad.
That's hard.
And it is hard because I automatically kind of go, I wonder if they're okay.
Exactly, yeah.
You kind of naturally do it.
Yeah.
But
the fancying, the connecting, the jokes, the crack, the banter.
I will always fancy
instead of
him.
the admin list, you know? I find we come together and we're having that moment and then it's still like back to, did you pay for the gym class? And that's tricky, Lucy. Now, I know you like the store cupboard, but that's a whole different episode.
Don't listen to it. Don't listen to it.
But
I think it helps if you still find your partner attractive. Yeah, definitely. And, like, you know, and you need to find and you need to remember that person before they were a parent. Okay. Because Rich must look at me sometimes. I come back from, say, an award ceremony, which isn't very often, and we know I'm not glamorous. But I take off all the scaffolding, whip off all the makeup, stick my hair in a ponytail, Sudocreme, and I get into bed in my Penny's pyjamas. He must go, Jesus, that's a bit of a challenge. Do you know what I mean? Like, but that is real life.
So. I think you must think you're absolutely gorgeous,
I disagree with one thing you said there, and I disagree with that. And you say that, you know, you've got to find the people you used to be. You know, you'll never find...
Find the person without the parent.
No. Just to say that you'll never find... That person was then... And that person is adapted now. And you need to really, and I mean this, and I know this from certain weaknesses in my life, you need to find that person who they are now, as opposed to, oh my God, do you know?
I think you've read this wrong. We know that, and obviously the person isn't going to change from being a parent. Yeah. I love Richie more now than I did when I lived then. But I need to look at him through just a Richie eye rather than calling him Daddy.
No, but that's a brilliant point. I actually think I do miss that.
I could never ever. Here's the thing, which is really interesting, and couples can play this game because we've often talked about ourselves because we talk about everything in the world, but you do change and you become Colm and Anne, and then you say, and I've often said this in very serious times, could you still be together
if it wasn't for your children?
If it wasn't for the children.
Now, I often, and we've talked about this on air, I've often kind of said to Rich, you know, when the children leave, which, well, they probably won't because it's 2023 and nobody's there. When they move to the end of the garden. Yeah. But I have said to him, do you ever think, what are we going to talk about when they're not here? Because 85% of our conversations, and the Rich always says, no, I never worry about that. Yeah. But I do kind of think,
are we the same without them, or were we better with that? I think I was missing.
Do we need them, and how do we cope? Well, like, you know this.
What about the couples who don't have
what I'm saying to you is,
well, they didn't know any.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is what I believe is when that happens and they do move out, never try to be the two people that got together 27 years before or whatever.
Well, no, you're not.
Or 29. No, but some people see. I'm trying
to be Becca from.
I have friends.
Are you?
I have friends and their kids have grown up and they try to be the couple that met in 85, 86.
I'm grieving. I think I would still say to Jason sometimes, And he just, I think he's a much more adult, grown-up person to me, because I'm like, I just wish we, you know, the times we did, and I would wear this, and then we'd go to this thing, and you would laugh so much, and he's like, but Bex, we could, like we have these children.
But I guarantee he finds you more attractive now that you're a mum.
I can guarantee not.
No,
let me tell you, I think,
and he watches you with your beautiful babies.
I think if Anne and me tried to go back to being the people we were, we wouldn't survive.
Wow, that's so interesting.
I think
well, just because he was a loser and he looked like a fly. But is this when you look like a fly?
You know, sometimes I try to make really relevant, strong, adult, articulate points, and Lucy Kennedy drives her car right into me.
What I will say about Hazy regarding
I do love her.
Regarding Anne is you would never get bored of him.
Yeah, but he's also highly, like, I went to Japan with Colm, and I had a breakdown, then I laughed a lot till I weed, then I had a breakdown.
Didn't he take a strange tablet?
He took a tablet.
Spanish tablet.
He took a tablet in Ibiza once. Colm took a tablet in the airport on the way home, and he didn't know what the tablet was. And he said to me, "It's to clear up sinus." And I said, "Go." And I'm telling this story because I hope someone takes this story and rolls with it.
There was people there in the paper.
You took a tablet.
Was it an e-tablet?
There was journalists.
Was it an
e? Journalists everywhere.
Yeah.
No, I don't know what he took, but he goes, "Oh, I found a tablet," and he stood.
Where did he find it? Did he find it in Japan?
In his disgusting, sweaty willy pocket. He found this.
Oh no!
And he goes, "I'm going to take this, Bex." And he stood in a queue in Stockholm with security staring at us. And he sweated from here down to his
I took a
private
reaction
parts.
to the tablet.
And he had a massive reaction, and he was shaking, and it was like he was in a
glad you
nightclub.
said reaction.
And this guy was like, "I'm afraid you can't." And I was like, "Colm, we were trying to get home."
Yeah.
And then he literally couldn't get that flight, got another one, and got hammered on that flight.
Well, could you not get the flight because you were so sweaty?
No, I got on
I don't
that
think you were
flight.
on that flight with me.
No, because in the queue, you and Clint were so worried about me, right? No, this is true. They planned my funeral.
And welcome to the parenting podcast.
Oh
They
my
planned my
God.
funeral. Who would make the speech? You're included.
I'm not making a speech if you're going to take an e-tablet in Japan.
That's an E, by the way. Welcome to the
Just to
parenting.
confirm.
Well,
All
it
I
was a
know-
Spanish tablet.
It was a Spanish tablet, and he kept saying, "Oh, Anne had this years ago for sinus." And then I looked at the pack; it was 1999, and it was off the charts. And all I remember is, and I also remember going on that trip and Colm saying, "You can have the first class flights." I was like, "Why?" He goes, "I'm very happy once I have a drink in economy." And I was like, "Wow, Dad of the Year."
I know,
so,
he's
like,
Shrek.
I mean, I love this man, and you're correct about saying. And sorry, that is a very good point. And I think maybe this is correct for the three of us without being arrogant.
Yes,
Colm would only keep you. Have huge ups and downs with him, entertained, wreck your head, drive you mad.
Yeah.
I think I keep things mad at home. I think I annoy everyone, but I think I'm a bit of crack, and I think you must keep the. So
yes,
maybe the
we
three
all
of us
have
are
that.
head wrecks, but we bring something to our
We
relationship.
do. We bring
Jason's
a bit of
very
life.
steady.
Yeah, but so is Rich, and so is
And so
Anne.
is Anne. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
So
there
we've
you go.
all married normal
We
people.
should have
I
a
say, well
throuple.
done.
We should have a throuple.
Like
Okay,
Anne does often say to me sometimes, "You wouldn't just go away for a while."
Yes.
Seriously.
Well, don't
That's
send
so
him in
funny.
our direction,
That's
Anne, if you're
actually so
listening.
funny. You wouldn't just go away.
Yeah. No, come back like in a couple of days and I'll be ready again
And when
for
we
you.
were planning your funeral, I was like, "What'll I wear?" Because Lucy
What
would
would
come
we
looking
wear?
really hot. Like, what'll I
wouldn't wear.
And Colm was like, "How can you think like this in a moment like this?" I was like, "Colm, I got to think about this because it could be a snap."
Yeah.
And I just remember everyone saying they didn't want to speak for him, so I don't know who was going to speak for you. Probably
I would.
Lucy.
I'd get
None
stuck.
of us would.
I would.
It'd be a good time anyway. Okay, I have a final question
Okay.
Yes.
about entitled children
Yes.
and this child-centric life we're living in. Is it a funky, dangerous territory we're in, or is
Yes,
it?
most definitely. And I literally came in ranting and raving last week about this. And I gave my children a lecture and went down the road of telling them about a trip I made to Ghana when I was doing the story of chocolate for Cadbury's 15 years ago. And I lectured them about a child on the road playing with a plastic bottle and how lucky they are and how privileged they are and how we didn't and how I started work at 15 and how I did a pure lecture because there is that entitled mum. Can you fix my iPhone? They all talk the same. If they're not in the American YouTube phase, they all talk like this, you know? And yes, without a shadow of a doubt, I like to think that my children aren't spoilt. But do they have everything? Yes. And it's because we've given it to them. And I can't say it's because everyone else does. It's because I want to. Because maybe I didn't have the things they have.
Yeah,
you know?
same.
And I did have to work younger and life was different for me. But yes, I do think they are entitled, and I don't mean to generalise for anybody listening who's thinking, well, my children aren't, maybe your children aren't, but I think to a certain degree the child of 2023 is privileged.
I agree. It's pretty bad. Do you want a final word on that?
Well, just final word is not to be wanting to be too highbrow, political, cultural, or whatever.
By the way, you look so good
but our
today.
children are white, Western European children. They are the most privileged on the planet. Be it that right or be it that wrong. That's a fact.
Okay, play me a track. That's very intense. Look, I love you both.
He is very
dearly,
intense. He's very
and
intense.
it's just
I know, we
been
love you
so
too.
lovely to
When
talk
can we
to you
drink
about being
together?
parenting.
Do we mention when we got kicked out of the restaurant?
No, it's parenting.
I left before you
No,
got kicked out.
no.
I
You were
left.
there when those two old ladies left
Oh,
beside
no,
us.
that's
Yeah,
horrendous.
yeah, the
I
two
never
of them.
wanted. No.
I'm
that
sure
was
language. Your children know you speak like that.
By the way, I was sober because I was breastfeeding and you made a scene of me. Anyway, I
I
don't
don't
want to talk
know.
about that on a parenting podcast.
No.
Okay.
It's been such a pleasure. I love getting
we
to know
love
you guys
you,
on that
Bex.
realm because all I know about you guys is the fancy pain in the ass side. So
Yeah.
it's been beautiful. Thank you so much
No,
for joining
thank
me.
you for
Thank
coming.
you.
We love seeing you. We need to
Thank
see
you.
you more.
Thank you.
This podcast is brought to you by Aveeno Baby, a dermatologist and paediatrician tested skincare range specially formulated with high quality oats to nourish, soothe and protect your baby's delicate skin from first use. Aveeno Baby is available in stores nationwide, including Tesco, SuperValu and Dunnes. And as your little ones get older, the new Aveeno Kids range is proven to cleanse, protect and help nourish kids developing skin, scalp and hair. Also available at Tesco and Dunnes.